Okay, guys, welcome to day 2 of the Money Momentum Challenge. We're going to build on yesterday's momentum by tackling today's tasks with enthusiasm. Right now, after today, you're going to feel like a weight has been lifted. And you may not really feel it initially, right? It's a small weight, but you're going to feel it if you really bought into this thing, this whole idea of fixing our foundation, setting the sails, and taking off to our destination. The weight feels more lifted when you understand the gravity of what we're trying to do, right? We're trying to fix our money habits and build momentum. Now, if you think about it, let's get right to it. The goal of today is to choose one unnecessary expense, right? We made that list, right? We had the fixed, the variable, which included some unnecessary stuff in it, but then we had the really unnecessary expenses. We're going to cut one of those things today. Cut it. We're not going to, the unused subscriptions, the impulse purchases, like you just need some new shoes, or every month you get yourself some jewelry, things like that are more, they don't have a whole lot of objectivity behind it, right? And then there's some of them where we just feel like, well, we'll use it eventually. Like you've been paying for your gym membership for months and you haven't been there in months. And you're like, well, just in case I need it. Or you're paying for Netflix and you don't really watch Netflix. You don't really need to have Netflix, right? And you're thinking, well, I like to have it just in case. We got to cut these. We got to get rid of them. They are unnecessary. Now, when we say you're going to feel a weight is lifted, if you're cutting $15 of an expense from your monthly expenses, if your expenses are $2,000 and you cut $15, you might not feel like, man, that's not making much of a dent. However, if you don't look at it as $15, but you're looking at the momentum that it builds for the future, it's way heavier than $15, right? It has a multiplicative effect on how you move forward. Right. So the idea for today is that every dollar that comes into our possession has a purpose. It has a job to do. So just like you put your shoes on, you put your pants on, you put your shirt on, not in that order, but you put your stuff on, you go to work and you go do a job. And you have to do that job. And your job is not the most important job, but your job helps to support the organization so the organization can fulfill its function. So it's not the most important job, but it's very important, right? Because you're a cog in a wheel that cannot turn without your position, right? So just like that, the $15 is not the most important, right? But it's a cog in the wheel. And once you understand that, you take a step back, you're like, whoa, this thing can't run without that nut or that bolt or that screw or that cog or a little bit of oil there. And it's all the little things that make this huge machine run that is our financial foundation, right? Our money habits. So we're changing one thing. We're going to cut it. Now, if you did the lists and you didn't have any unnecessary expenses, I don't think we're being honest. Like I said to you, just the other day, I had an unnecessary expense, my BJ's membership. I only pay it once a year. But just because you pay something once a year doesn't mean it doesn't have a impact on a monthly or daily basis, right? You just divide. Divide by 120 divided by 12 is 10. 10 divided by 30 or 31, right? I'm paying 30 cents a day for a place I don't ever go to, right? And it's not the 30 cents that I need. Right? It's the momentum that I need. Cut it. Get rid of it. Now, like I said, a 10-minute Planet Fitness membership. What's the big deal? If I told you that every December 31st, you would go to sleep and wake up and find $120 on your desk, would you say that it's not? Would you say that no, I don't need it? Would you not take it? Right, $10 Planet Fitness times 12 is 120. Right, so if I came to you every Christmas morning, every New Year's, every birthday, let's pick one annual event a year, and I said, hey man, here's $120. This is for being awesome. would you not take it? Would you say, man, I don't need that? No, you would take it. Even a millionaire, billionaire, Jeff Bezos, if I hand him $120 annually, would take it, right? The lack of control over our personal finance is like having a villain that's a clone of you, which is kind of like a plot twist. And this villain, who's you, approaches you from behind, and this gets graphic, so this isn't for kids. And you, who's the villain, who's your twin, who's your clone, comes from behind and begins to threaten your life, puts his hands around your neck and threatens you, right? And you made the decision today to grab the weapon, to grab his hand, to grab the knife, to grab whatever he's using to threaten you. And you're not just moving it away and hoping that he doesn't come back. No, you're taking it and you're turning around, you're facing him. Now, you haven't defeated him, but now you've acknowledged that it's threatening your financial well-being, and you're turning around, you're facing that villain. And the villain, again, is you. Now, it wasn't that hard, like realistically. It's not like a hard thing to do, but it's gratifying, right? It's the gravity that it holds. It's gratifying. Now, once this is done, right? This is day 2. Once day 2 is done, and please go crazy. You look at those 3 things and you say, wow, fixed, variable, unnecessary. And if you can cut as many unnecessary expenses as you want. You can cut them all, right? Now it gets to be fun. You can now lean to the variable expenses and say, how can I reduce these? May not be able to cut it, right? Not going to cut gas or groceries, but how can I reduce these? And then you can transition yourself to, not me, I don't have any, my family has subscriptions, but I don't have any personal subscriptions. And I would be okay if I didn't at this point in my life. Now, if you're 20 or whatever, I understand. But at this point in my life, the only subscription I have is Amazon Prime membership, and I use that. I use that. Right, Bezos got I got a freaking flyer card at Amazon. I use it. Right, I'm always getting stuff for the children. I'm always getting books and supplies, and so I pay that's $130 something a year. I use that, get my dollars worth. So, and I get that money back in cash back probably every 3 months or so. I get that money back in cash back because they're 5% credit card. So I'm not. But Amazon, I don't have any subscriptions really. YouTube is free. A lot of free services to get entertainment without paying somebody every month. So you don't need it. Now, if you have something and you enjoy it and it gives you peace, that's fine. But we're starting to now kind of open our eyes, turn around and face the villain and say, damn, there's a lot of stuff that you've been threatening me with that I can really do without. And we just start cutting them down, reducing them, call the insurance company. Like it gets really fun after this. Yeah. So after day 3, which is tomorrow morning, what I want you to do is we're going to keep that list that you made, categorizing the expenses. And then after day 3, you're going to realize that the list that we have I'm going to let you're going to go and you're going to have fun with. You'll realize that this list has been stopping you from maximizing your financial potential. We've been losing $120 to $150 to $200 a year that we now get to use towards our financial future, which is the awesome thing about this. Now, before you go, I want you to just comment below. And I'm going to give you a scenario first, and then I'll let you know how I want you to engage in the comments. Think about this. Every airline gives the same instructions to all the passengers prior to takeoff. Right? They give emergency procedures, like what happens if this or that. They say, secure your oxygen mask first. Put your oxygen mask on first in the case of an emergency, and then help other people. right? And then even if you have children, put yours on first before helping your children. What does that mean to you? That's going to be the question. As it pertains to finances, what does that concept, how does that concept correlate? What does it mean to you? And the second question is, do you have anyone who looks up to you? Do you have children, a niece, a nephew, younger brothers, younger sisters, maybe older brothers, older sisters, right? It doesn't matter if they're older, they can still look up to you. Any friends, any families? Do you have anyone who looks up to you? Those are two things, right? What does that mean? Secure your oxygen mask first. What does it mean pertains to your finances? And number two, does anyone look up to you? And that's what I want you to enter today. Once you get through this list, that's what I want you to think about today and comment below, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. I haven't thought of a cool quote yet, a cool sign off for the Money Momentum Challenge yet. But thank you for being here. Thank you for being committed to your finances, not mine, to your finances, and understand that I'm on the journey with you. And together, we're going to be able to take the money. Maybe if you came into this group, maybe you came into this school, you didn't have money, we're going to find money. We're going to find it, and we're going to repurpose it towards our future. Bye.